Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us today. My name's Angie. I'm VP of Customer Success here at HeadSpin. Today, I'll be talking to you about how you can stop guessing, start benchmarking, testing your media performance at scale. So to get started, there's two goals I have. Two goals of this session. My goal is that you'll walk away with a clearer framework on how to actually benchmark your media performance, and a new perspective on ways that you can actually deliver a flawless media experience. So two things we're going to cover today. The first one being the science behind media testing and how HeadSpin approaches kind of less guessing, more data-driven decision making. And the second piece is going to be the robust testing strategies that we use to uncover hidden issues, optimize user experience, and then drive measurable business outcomes. So to start with, I think we all can kind of, admit that delivering a flawless media experience today is not optional anymore. It's obviously expected. Some of these metrics you can kind of read about, right? The longer a viewer is waiting for a stream to start up, the more likely they are to abandon it entirely, the more likely they are to move to another provider. So when you have infinite choices, when there's so many options on where you can go to view, any performance gaps, even minor ones, can lead to churn, of course. So benchmarking is an easy way to basically move away from doing guesswork and getting data to back up what the decisions should be around your product. This list of customers here, these are our amazing customers today. All of these customers are using us currently to do benchmarking in some shape or form. Different use cases, different ways of approaching benchmarking, but they're all finding value in using HeadSpin to do so. So if you think about benchmarking at a high level, why would you want to benchmark? The way you want to look at it is that there's thousands of device models in the market, right? There's different types of Android devices, different types of iOS versions, various types of smart TVs, various types of OTT boxes. So how do you know how the end user experience is actually looking on every single one of these device types? That's what HeadSpin looks to do is, can you test in San Francisco on an iOS and then also test a lower, maybe an entry-level device in Mumbai and get a proper understanding of the experience? The other challenge is really the network variability. So a lot of customers might be using 5G, some might be using 4G, some might be in rural 3G, right? So again, how do you capture all of those variations in your testing and in your product experience monitoring? That's really the goal here. So to talk about HeadSpin, if you've ever heard of HeadSpin, if you haven't, please come to the booth at W3111. We can show you a live demo. Essentially what HeadSpin is an omni-channel testing, analysis, and monitoring platform. So what we've done is we've set up real devices globally. We don't believe in simulators. We don't believe in emulators. We believe that you need a real device to test on to get an idea of an end user experience. So these are physical devices that are located in over 50 countries worldwide. There's browsers, there's smart TVs, there's OTT devices, kind of all the device types that you can think of. And these devices are connected to real networks, whether it's Wi-Fi networks, SIM card networks. And then again, it's globally, distributed. So if you wanted to tell us, I need a particular device in sub-Saharan Africa, I need a device in Asia, we will set that up for you if we don't already have it available in our, global pool. The other thing I wanted to call out about HeadSpin is that we've developed some really cool technology behind the scenes to power the platform. So the first one is our P box. This is a physical phone box. Again, if you want to see it, please come to booth W3111. We have an actual box that we can show you. The idea here is that the devices actually sit in the box and we can set it up anywhere. So if you wanted to set this up on premise in your lab, maybe you want to set it up, in a particular location, we can do that, or you can have us host it. That's what we can do. And you can access the devices remotely on the cloud. The second one is our AV box. This is an audio video box that we developed specifically for media customers. So if you wanted to test DRM protected content, if you want to capture audio quality, video MOS scores, UVQ, we can capture all of that using our audio video platform. And then all of the devices, whether in the P box, whether in the AV box, will show up on our remote control UI, which allows you to do a lot of analysis. So anytime you run a test, whether it's manual, whether it's automated, we will run an analysis of all the device metrics, the network performance, the video analytics, audio, all of, kind of everything that would be related to the user experience. AI, of course, we built AI into our platform. There's a couple of ways that we do it. The first thing is our automated issue detection. So if the platform detects that there's some problems with your experience, maybe there's a lot of loading screens, spinners, there's a lag in setting up the page, it would actually automatically detect that and bubble it up for you to consume. We have a waterfall UI, which I'll show you in the next slide here, which actually gives you 130 different metrics related to the performance. If you wanted to look at where's my battery draining, where's the memory usage the most, the CPU usage, all of that will be captured in our waterfall UI. Root cause analysis, the platform will do some kind of a recommendation on what might be causing the degradation that we're seeing, whether it's on the network or on the experience. And then machine learning. So we've actually built MOS scores for audio and video within the platform that will give you a score on how your experience is looking. So to kind of now pivot to benchmarking, which is the whole goal of this talk, there's two types of ways we're seeing customers do benchmarking today. The first is internal baselining. So this is where they're testing their own product again and again, release over release, time over time, to kind of see, did we regress? Did we have any degradation over time? And then monitor that. So they're kind of setting themselves up against a certain standard that they want to maintain anytime a new feature is released, anytime anything changes. So that's the first one. They also have a lot of baselining location to location. So I have customers like Snap, like Google, who want to test globally to see, is my experience the same in different parts of the world as it is in North America? The second really popular use case is competitive analysis, and I think this is where we differentiate, is that you can really use HeadSpin to test any product. It doesn't have to be just your own. So if you wanted to compare, how do my competitors do their features? How did they perform under load? How do they perform on load networks? You can do that on HeadSpin. We will actually automate these tests for you and give you an output, which will mean that you get a full view of the competitive kind of analysis. So, obviously we can capture app metrics, but really the streaming related KPIs are the most popular today. So startup time of the video, how quickly did it take for the video to load? Obviously the ideal would be less than 2 seconds, but really that's the type of thing we'll be monitoring for you. Rebuffer ratio. So, what was the percentage of time that the video was actually buffering? AABR efficiency, the smoothness of the quality transition. VMOS, like I said, we've built a MOS score into the platform. We'll give you a 0 to 5 score on your video quality. The number of frame drops, right? What was causing them to drop, especially during live content. That's something that we're seeing a lot more customers interested in, is monitoring live content, immersive live content. So we can actually detect any time a frame drops and feed that information to you. And again, give you an idea of what was happening behind the scenes when that frame drop occurred. Bitrate stability, error rates. So this is another huge one for us. A lot of customers are wanting us to tell them every single time a test failed, because that means that some user out there is probably trying to do the same user journey and getting a failure. So that's the kind of thing that we would track. And then VMAF, of course, right? Comparing compressed streams against the originals, trying to figure out where the visual fidelity is lost. So this is just an example, just a sample of the types of KPIs our customers care about, but really it can be anything experience related. We'd love to learn, from you, what are you looking to capture? So we can do that for you. This is an actual time series. So this is what HeadSpin triggers as part of our testing. This is a waterfall UI that I was kind of, referencing. You can see here that there's metrics that we're capturing out of the box, the impact time, the video MOS scores. And again, this is one test on one device. But the idea would be that when you do this with automation, you're now capturing thousands of tests on thousands of devices. Each test that you run on HeadSpin would have a screen recording, so a video of the test taking place. It would have the metrics, of course, the delta in the metrics, and then the output would be a benchmark report. So the benchmark report can be a Grafana dashboard that we built for you. It could be the data sessions, or if you wanted to extract the data and put it in your own monitoring platform, you can do that as well. And then, of course, right, our customers don't just care about streaming. They also care about, the core kind of app vitals, whether it's app or browser, doesn't matter. The first one being launch time. So a lot of customers testing the difference between cold, warm, and hot start times. Resource usages, right, the CPU drain, testing different types of RAMs. That's another major use case for us. The smoothness of the experience, right? Was there any issues when a user is doing heavy interaction or heavy scrolling? What is that type of experience experience look like? And then battery drain. This is a huge one in the media space. If you're a user of a media platform, you're more likely to use it like on the go, on the train, in the car. So our platform will actually detect when there's high levels of battery drain happening when the customer is using your product. And then another, use case I want to call out is the entry-level device experience versus a high-end device experience. So we have a lot of customers that come to us saying, I need to test a low-end device versus a mid-end versus a high-end. And that's something that we can provide out of the box. So if you're interested in working together, there's few things that we like to cover. The first is obviously defining the KPIs that you care about. Our team would collaborate with yours to understand in detail what are the metrics that you care about. How do we define them? Do you agree with kind of the way that we're going to approach it? And then the second thing is obviously we start to measure. We like to start with manual sessions. We'll give you a couple of sessions to validate, make sure that they meet your needs. And from there we automate, right? So we're going to automate the end-to-end journey. We're going to start to kind of run that automation at scale all around the world, wherever it is that you want to test the user journey. And then the last thing is the analysis. So we'll start to identify the bottlenecks, start delivering the data to you. And this is what customers like YouTube, like Fox, like Disney are using us for today. So just to kind of wrap it up, I wanted to call out a couple of examples of the types of insights, types of data that we've delivered here at HeadSpin. We had a partner who was really interested in identifying any lag on any of the OTT players. So we actually were able to identify that there's a 400 millisecond lag in their Roku native player stack. And now because of HeadSpin's data, they've essentially been able to optimize that across the board. But if you look outside of that, user experience interaction. So what's the difference between a cached experience versus an uncached experience? How does it differ kind of depending on the swipe performance of the user? How does a product differ if you've applied post-processing color enhancements or if you haven't? So this is something where our customers are starting to realize, okay, I didn't realize that my competitor is actually doing some post-processing. We aren't doing that today. How do we kind of introduce the same type of thing? This is a really, really common thing I hear from my customers is that if we didn't have your benchmarking data, we would have no idea that our competitors are doing, something different that's actually making their experience a little bit better. Same with audio. Audio is becoming a huge use case. If you think about LUF scores, if you think about the ability to kind of look at how loud is my audio, is it loud enough or is it too loud compared to what everyone else is doing? Audio matching, audio MOS analysis, audio, if you kind of give us a golden standard of what your audio should look like or should sound like, we can actually do a comparison to say, hey, you're meeting it or you're not. Of course, did audio drop? Is the audio coming through? All of that is available out of the box. Network connectivity. This is a really interesting one. The more I talk to customers, the more I realize that they're coming to us with very specific use cases where they're saying, I had an executive on an airplane. They tried to use airplane mode and, they put their device on airplane mode and tried to use a product that should be available offline, but it didn't work. And then they tried the competitor product and it did. So now they're kind of scrambling to figure out why did it not work. So we're able to actually test airplane mode. We're able to actually test what it looks like in low network scenarios. Other examples like that where a customer told me my executive was traveling abroad. The product should not be available in the market that they were in, but it did. So can you help me test and find out why is it working in that market, or can we test other markets? Or the opposite problem where it should be working, but it's not working, right? So that would be another example of a global testing scenario. Testing Wi-Fi versus SIM card. This is huge for us. The ability to actually test TELUS versus AT&T versus Verizon, different Wi-Fi networks as well. So this, again, we're doing this globally. We're doing this in sub-Saharan Africa. We're doing this in Asia. It's a very, very popular use case. And then, network switching. So going from 5G to 4G, or maybe you're on cellular, now you have to go to Wi-Fi. What does that experience look like? That's the type of thing we could benchmark for you. Temporary packet loss, latency spikes, kind of the ability to look at the throughput drops. This is really, really popular. And then the last one I'll leave you with is kind of identifying the lowest latency and the real-time delivery speeds of your product. How does it look, right, when there's zero stall? How does it look like when there's peak load on the platform? How does the experience differ again? So I would love to show you our P-Box. I'd love to show you some sample sessions of how, customers are using us. Please come to W3111, meet me and my team. Would love to talk to you further if you have any questions. But thank you. Thank you so much for joining. Oh, we have a question. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. So the question is, can we do load testing? Yes. The answer is yes. You can actually kind of artificially load onto the platform using different products that we are, working with. And that will create the kind of load that you're looking at. We do have a lot of customers doing that today. There's a couple of ways you can do it. One is you can test on more devices, kind of mimic more traffic, or you can kind of simulate the artificial load, and I can show you more at the desk there if you want to see a demo of that as well.
Okay, and then how is your pricing structure based on? Is it like a recurring monthly fee, or based on maybe the number of users doing the test or the number of test devices that someone is using?
Good question. Yeah, so it's an SaaS platform. It's an annual subscription fee. There's no limit on users, no limit on number of tests. You basically license the number of devices that you want to test on annually. Yeah. Yeah, please.
I'm curious if you're able to do both ends of a media streaming test. My company's more of a middle layer, so we have people streaming to us on the ingest side.
Yep.
Then out to customers.
Right.
We might even be considered interested in, because we have a lot of sources that come from all around the world.
Okay.
Non-OECD countries sometimes. So
yeah.
They might not have great networks. People would want to know how well their stuff can network to us and then go out to their customers.
Absolutely. Yeah. So it doesn't matter to us whether it's coming in or going out. As long as there's a video stream on the device that you're looking at, it will capture the same type of metrics. So we should talk for sure after. Yeah. Yeah, with someone. Yeah.
I'm interested on the latency, especially latency variation, like the jitter.
Yeah.
You test those.
Absolutely. Jitter is a big use case for us. You can simulate it, or you can actually add, use other products that we work with to kind of simulate that. I have my colleague here today who can actually show you that at the booth if you would like to see it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because of not only jitter, but also the tail latency, which is critical for the AI workflow.
Which latency, sorry?
Tail latency. That's the biggest latency. If
Got
you
it.
Transfer.
Yeah. If you're okay, I can show you and take you to my colleague and we can talk through it together. Awesome. Thank you so much. Appreciate your guys' time.